Greetings, friends. Is this the end of Corona? Is life returning to normal? We all desire a normal existence, but it seems clear that Corona, like the plagues of ancient Egypt, came into this world to accomplish something. And we must ask, has that mission been accomplished? I have often repeated the words of the Chafetz Chaim, in which he said, quote, "We can learn about the end of our current exile from what happened at the end of the exile in ancient Egypt. The culture of ancient Egypt, Mitzrayim, had to be destroyed before Am Yisrael was able to reach Mount Sinai and receive the Torah. And now we're clearly in the days before Mashiach." I saw an interesting corroboration in the Siddur. Right after we say Shiras Hayom, Shiras Hayam, the song that the children sang at the sea after they left Mitzrayim, our rabbis placed the prophecy from Ovadia Hanavi, Ovadia the prophet, which tells about the day when saviors will ascend Har Zion to judge Esav's mountain, which refers to the final redemption. The sages linked the Egyptian redemption to the final redemption. So today, when we see the culture of Esav crumbling, which is evidence of the closeness of the final redemption, it should remind us of what happened in ancient Egypt. If we are seeing the end of Corona, it is not clear that we are seeing the end of the plagues. In Mitzrayim, Pharaoh, did not want to believe that the plagues came from Hashem. So he regarded each plague as accidental. It just happened. And that is why he kept hardening his heart to the words of Moshe Rabbeinu. We are anxious to get Corona over with so we can return to normal. But things are far from normal. The surrounding culture is tampering with the very foundation of creation. And therefore, that culture, the world of Esav, is at risk of total disintegration. Who gives mankind the right to assert that men and women are the same? They're arguing with the king of the universe. It won't work. As King David says in the Psalms, "Fools, when will you gain wisdom? He who fights with God destroys himself." If an entire culture fights God, then the entire culture will destroy itself, just as the world destroyed itself in the days of the Great Flood. Mankind rebelled in those days precisely as the culture of Esav is rebelling in our own days. They also claimed that men and women are the same, and they were all swallowed alive in scalding water. Where do we find this prohibition? In this week's Parsha, the Torah commands, quote, "You shall not lie with a man as one lies with a woman." It is an abomination. The result of this sin is expulsion from the land of Israel, God forbid. Listen to this graphic language. The land became impure, and I recalled its iniquity upon it, and the land vomited out its inhabitants. The land of Israel becomes physically sick from this abomination. Is this applicable only to Jews? No, not at all. This prohibition applies to all mankind as one of the 7 mitzvos given to the children of Noah, the punishment for which is death. My friends, the world is playing with fire. In 2008, my book, 2020 Vision, was published. The story opens with a simultaneous terrorist attack on the United States and Western Europe, during which an electromagnetic pulse bomb, EMP, is detonated over the United States, knocking out the entire electronic grid. All circuits are disabled, meaning the United States is disabled. Is this fantasy? Here are some facts. The US Department of Homeland Security, in a statement released several years ago, stated that, quote, high altitude electromagnetic pulse attacks using nuclear weapons may permanently damage or disable large sections of the national electric grid and other critical infrastructure control systems. A second fact, on April 4th, 2021, a few weeks ago, Arutz Sheva published an op-ed in which the writers stated that China has been working for approximately 20 years to develop a targeted EMP device which could disable an entire US naval battle group carrying 8,000 soldiers. The writers stated that any American war with China over Taiwan could possibly be over before it began, with America the catastrophic loser. A few days after President Biden was sworn in, Reuters reported that a US aircraft carrier group led by the USS Theodore Roosevelt entered the South China Sea at a time when tensions between China and Taiwan have raised concern in Washington. My friends, let's not pretend the world is on fire. I'm going to quote from the prophet Malachi, quote, "For behold, the day is coming, burning like an oven, when all the wicked people and all the evildoers will be like straw, and that coming day will burn them up, says Hashem, Master of legions, so that it will not leave them a root or branch. But a sun of righteousness will shine for you who fear my name, with healing in its rays, and you will go out and flourish, and you will trample the wicked, for they will be ashes under the soles of your feet on that day that I bring about, says Hashem." master of legions. I'm going to quote the Gemara now. Hashem, the Gemara quotes Hashem, I lit the fire in Sion. And the Gemara continues, he lit a fire in Sion, which consumed the temple's foundations. And it continues, and I will in the future build it again with fire. As it says in Zechariah, the prophet, and I will be for it and a wall of fire all around, and for glory will I be in its midst. May we see the final redemption soon in our days with the coming of Mashiach ben David and the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash. Good Shabbos.